And joining me now for a reaction to the president's message to Iran and ABC's Barack Obama infomercial. And, of course, Governor Mark Sanford is conservative columnist, best-selling author. Her latest book, Guilty, Liberal Victims and Their Assault on America. Ann Coulter is back. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
You haven't gotten in trouble lately. So you all right? You've sort of been incognito. Where are you? You always are creating some problem somewhere.
I'm reading up on the Noam Chomsky view of the world so that I can understand Barack Obama's position with Iran.
Okay, fair enough. We'll get to Iran in just a second. We'll get to ABC in a second. Let's start with Governor Mark Sanford.
Yes.
You were one of the high crimes, misdemeanors, best-selling book, Ann Coulter.
Yeah. No, and I don't disagree with that now, but he's a Republican, so he will be gone. He will not be running for president, unlike John Edwards with all of his staff.
He may not be governor by the end of a couple of weeks.
That's right, and even if he is, Republicans vote these guys out generally. I mean, we'll see what happens with both him and Ensign. But, I mean, one point that I think needs to be made is politicians, both Republican and Democrat. The Republicans are gone now, so it's harder to remember names like Phil Crane, unlike Barney Frank, Teddy Kennedy. John Edwards, whom, as I say, everybody knew he was having an affair, and they're still running his campaign for president. Right. They have affairs at a rate approximately 1 million times that in the general population. I mean, there was one serious study of the sexual behavior of Americans done out of University of Chicago a few years ago, peer-reviewed. It went on for years and years, and only about 15% of men and about 8 or 10% of women. I think the women's rate has been growing since the study came out, which was 10 years ago. Meanwhile, politicians, I mean, it's like 50% of them, and I think it's the whole personality of the politician that you can see in those Sanford emails, and I think it's appalling that the emails have come out. But yet and still, I have read them, and you know the way he goes on and on about his
purely
travels,
business purposes, you know, and
his itinerary, and that talk about me being vice president. I mean, he's just so full of himself, and to think he could get away with this.
I didn't see that in him. Did you see it in him? I did not.
I was not a huge fan of his.
No, it's not a matter of being a fan as much as, you know, usually you can glean something from people and their arrogance and their public demeanor. I did not see that in him.
I wouldn't have known one way or the other, but in general, politicians, and there are some honorable politicians, and God bless them, there are many of them, but they're narcissistic. They need people to love them. They think they are, and also they were all nerds who could never get a girl to kiss them in high school. I mean, look at these guys. From Bill Clinton to this guy, it's not exactly a hunk of burning love here.
Listen, I don't know what that means because I had very few girlfriends, too. So
that is a lie. People can see you, Sean.
Yeah, but I'm telling you
the truth. Do you have a mirror? We know you are not a nerd in high school, so stop pretending to be one.
I was in trouble all the time.
Yo, girls love that.
No, yeah, you know, those were my trouble years. Why do you think this is? Now, this may be a stupid question, and the broader question is this. Does it matter what you do in your private life versus and your ability to do the job as a governor? Why?
Yes.
And explain why.
Yes, I mean, it is a character issue. It's one thing, I mean, I think it's silly, the hypocrisy point. I do not think Sanford, I do not think John Ensign, I don't think Vitter certainly would say, oh, no, I really didn't believe any of that Christianity stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's wrecked their lives, it's wrecked their marriages, it's wrecked their children's lives. Of course they believe it, and they fell, so I don't think it's a question of hypocrisy, but it is a question of character.
All right, I want to give you a shot at health care, and I want to give you a shot at Iran. You got a column coming out tomorrow.
Tonight. It's posted at anncoulter.com.
Yes.
But you got a little advance. Pointing out that Obama is worse than Hamlet on Iran. He is Colin Powell, waiting to see which side wins before choosing sides.
I said that to Karl Rove. Isn't that voting present? Isn't that his entire...
I love that. I think that is a perfect description of it, yes.
Yeah, well, by the way, I got to give Tom Mark credit from our affiliate and radio affiliate in Baltimore. He was the first one to come up with the idea, and he's right.
There is no sense that this... I cannot imagine Obama giving a speech... forget Reagan-esque speech, a speech as good as George Bush could give, talking about freedom and liberty from the heart. He cannot come out, and I mean, he finally came out and did it this week, by the way, giving the lie to all of Obama's defenders in the press, saying, oh, he can't say anything about Iran, it would be wrong to insert America into this, it would be a disaster. Well, then why is he doing it this week?
But he said we were meddling, and you know, when he goes around and he says to the world that America's arrogant, and he doesn't defend America's sacrifice for the cause of liberty and the cause of freedom, it seems to me, and I said this the other night, I think he is Bill Ayers in Reverend Wright. Not Bill Ayers the terrorist, Bill Ayers the radical.
Right, and Noam Chomsky. Oh, absolutely. His view of America is that we only do, and I mean, curiously, this idea that the protesters would suddenly decide, oh no, we're going to stop protesting if Obama put in a kind word for them. Well, A, it's insane, but B, it reflects the left's worldview that they hate America so much, they assume the rest of the world does. No, Iran does not, especially those protesters. They don't hate Americans. Iran is called the red state of the Middle East because most of it, like 70% of the population is under age 30. Those kids want to live in freedom.
By the way, you're always
and that's George Bush.
You're always so shy and timid in your views.
George Bush helps the Iranians.
Come on, Coulter, that was a joke.
They saw fellow Muslims living in freedom, in democracy in Iraq, and that's what inspired this. And Obama is living off the war on terrorism.
You're the only one that has said
George
that,
Bush.
and I thought the exact same thing. I think George W. Bush helped create this.
Let's just hope Obama doesn't blow it.
No, that's true. All right, Coulter, good to see. When's the next book coming out?
Oh, give me a little time to rest. Probably next year.
All right, we'll see. And Coulter, always great to have you.